Hello, my name is Noэль Kingsberi and I'm going to help you learn more about perennials as garden plants. Perennials are the mainstay of the garden in temperate climates. Defined as plants which live for many years but which die back in the autumn to re-emerge in spring, they offer a long season of interest, a huge range of possibilities for design and interest for wildlife. Above all, they offer constant seasonal change, bringing a sense of the dynamism of nature to the garden. The majority of perennials grown now are very similar to, or indeed identical to, their wild ancestors, so that by growing them we can learn and experience something of wild nature. This course aims at helping you understand perennials so that you can use them more effectively in gardens and other designed landscapes. There could be several approaches to doing this. A traditional one would have been to stress the requirements of cultivation. A design-led one would stress the aesthetics of making planting plans. The approach taken here is primarily an ecological one. We look at how the plants fit into their natural environment and what that means for their performance as garden plants. I believe that this approach, which also includes plenty of references to cultivation and to design, is the best way to help really understand perennials as living plants, which need to live, reproduce and compete in order to survive. Seeing plants as component parts of a constantly changing environment helps us to predict how they will perform in the years to come. After all, we all want gardens with healthy, long-lived plants without too much work. The first lesson, Understanding Perennials, takes the rabbit's eye view, getting down to observe plants at ground level and even below ground. We look at the fundamentals of life, perennial life cycles, longevity and reproduction. Let's begin with a thought experiment. Imagine a piece of ground which has been dug over and the soil surface broken up ready for growing plants of some kind. Imagine that it is not actually planted up but left. What will happen? Over the course of the first growing season, small weed seedlings will usually appear, growing rapidly, often flowering and seeding within a few months of their appearing. Many of these will have grown from seed buried in the soil, which may have been there for years, waiting for the chance to germinate. The majority of the plants which will appear in this first year are annuals. They complete their life cycle within 1 year, producing masses of seed which will then survive in the soil, waiting for the next opportunity to germinate and grow. For us, these annuals are the weeds which gardening and farming has traditionally fought off as competitors for the plants we want to grow. Some annuals, however, are cultivated as garden ornamentals, such as California poppies, Eschscholzia californica. Increasingly, mixes of annuals are being made available commercially, giving colour all summer long as a succession of different species flower one after the other. By the second year of our experiment, there will be fewer annuals. They will be joined by some biennials, which grow a strong set of leaves and roots in the first year, and in their second year they flower and seed, then die, again leaving their seeds in the soil. Year 2 of our experiment will also see the appearance of some perennials and almost certainly some perennial grasses. In theory, perennials live forever, but in actual practice there is a clear division between short-lived perennials and true perennials. The plant in the picture is a biennial thistle grown in gardens for its decorative leaves, Silybum marianum. From the third year of our experiment, there is a good chance that our block of once bare soil will be dominated by grasses, forming a tight carpet, but mixed in will be some perennial species, probably rather weedy ones. The tight growth will mean that there is no room for annuals to establish themselves, at least in a climate with a moist, warm season. Over time, there will be less room for short-lived perennials too, as they will have to reseed into bare ground to keep their presence. Nautia macedonica is a good example of a short-lived perennial.